Okay, I'm back. Now, this is part 2. So, I know that I was talking about dualistic corpuscular time sets, and that a black hole was a dual corpuscular time set reality maker, and there's so much more to say, I can't wait. So, just to start from the beginning, because I've got this beginning that I went on, and I never really realized that it was going to lead this far. At least I'm very happy with it, and I hope it helps. Okay, so now, also, I should tell you that I'm in agreement with much of science. You might say I'm a conceptualist. It would definitely be a theorist, at the same time. But so anyway, so I got to start somewhere. I don't know if I really like this little example, this little thought experiment, which was basically you have the feeling of time passing, and it's the same for it's the same for a person on Earth and a person traveling near light speed, but their time is different. They're feeling the same, but their time is different, in that they do not age the same. If we change this to a thought experiment to be that we can vibrate particles or rotate, I don't know, maybe like spin, like add a trajectory, a very fast trajectory in just a tiny bit to, and I heard that once before, but anyway, we vibrate the particles of one person near light speed, and a tiny orbit could do that instead of changing direction back and forth, because technically if you change direction you'd have to stop then start. It would take enormous amounts of energy, and of course with the with particle accelerators, they're going to tell you, right away you're going to know that you can't accelerate a particle that tiny that fast. So in our fantasy, our thought experiment, we can. So we accelerate near light speed. The one person's particles are vibrating that fast, or rotating, or whatever. The other person on Earth is normal. They both are in a room together. They both do the same thing. One person is running at Earth time and has a long story memorized, tells the other person what to write. If you've read Einstein's theory of special relativity, you'll know that the person that's traveling at near light speed would vanish, but every time the normal Earth time person would say what to write, it would just appear on the paper, without being able to see the other person. There's some you don't have to point out the problems. This is not an experiment to show how good or bad this example is. It's simply to show, it's basically making an analogy between that and fuzzy, or the wave function. That is going very fast, and then when you measure, you're actually causing a coincidence. You have a phase out of phase, and then it goes in phase when it's measured. I'll just read this and see what it says here. To create a particle with mass, it needs energy to create a particle without mass. It needs the mass it would need converted to energy plus, I don't know what that's saying. Okay, sorry about that. Then, each corpuscular time flows differently, but if you are in that separate system of time, you will notice nothing different. In this case, you'd be a particle. And of course particles can't think, but we can, so we'll think as if we can think like a particle. Because light and all resultant particles have been reunitized, this is inside of a singularity. You have, light enters a black hole, breaks free from its original system, and a new rate is set within that system, that new corpuscular time system. Alright? I'm trying to figure out how I started off. Yeah, actually, that's pretty good, really, considering that I was just deciding to write something down, and I already thought of that. That was quite a while ago. Anyway. Technically, the universe is everything. So, I don't like it when people say there's multiverses. although in my model you could still think that if you want to. There's no real violation if you do. Let's see here. Anyway, but because in the system, I'd prefer if you don't do that, because the universe is everything. And in this system, as I go more deeper into it, you'll see what I mean. And at the same time, you can persist in the I wouldn't say multiverse. I would say different realities or different dimensions of realities and stuff like that. It's possible. Technically, the universe is everything. Technically, if we're in this black hole, it would mean one of two things, because in our space we have black holes. We've actually photographed them, so if we're in a black hole, then we may have come from another origin space. Or we might, I didn't mean to say origin space, I meant to say another space from another time set. Also, if we didn't come from a time set previous to this one, it would mean that this was the origin time set. And I think there's one of two ideas I have, but mainly this is it. That I believe that there's an origin time set, the first one. And I don't think it would interfere. Otherwise you'll end up with like a looped, like the bridge that was not a very good idea. Anyway, let's go on from there. We'll say, so you would think that we are in time space number one. We are not in time space. Oh, but we are in time space 2. For conceptual reasons, the space-times are horizontal planes. That makes it much easier to conceptualize for us mere mortals. I don't think I'm going to show you this diagrams here yet, but V is used to describe things that are to us in a virtual realm, like a virtual particle. It may not really be virtual, but it is out of phase with our system. Corpuscular time is I don't think I meant to say corpuscular time. I think I meant to say space-time is perpendicular to the virtual particle. Wait, it says corpuscular time is perpendicular to the virtual particle. And the realm, virtual particle realm. So is our space-time. Time is horizontal. Virtual particles is vertical. And vertical equals supertime, or superposition. Black holes have spin. Particle formation also can spin horizontally and vertically, kind of like light. The fingerprint of the electromagnetic. To the viewer, it looks like a superposition. Okay, I didn't really get into that there. I'm going to skip through this, which is create a rotating interference pattern. The interference pattern is in a superposition. If we rotate our laser and a 700 nanometer hole that creates the bullseye or the double slit, and my prediction is at pseudo light speed, you will see a new pattern. So if you take a interference pattern and you shine it on a wall, instead of, in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to have a wall that goes all the way around the experiment, and we're going to rotate our light. And if we, and it would have to be quite far out because we need to go pseudo light speed. And if you do, I predict that there'd be you'd see a different pattern. You should see blurring only. But I think if you do see a pattern at pseudo light speed, this would show that that light is. I think it would show that light is discrete. In other words, it would be. It also shows. Anyway, it would prove part of this theory, which is basically that let's see what I say. Let me try this again here. Light passing through a 700 nanometer gap acts like a microscope to the virtual particle in superposition, and this shows its vibration or motion in the singularity. A singularity is a composite creature. The unification of general relativity and quantum mechanics, later called quantum relativity, which later is called just simply quantum gravity, basically. I was like, what are we talking about? Are we talking about quantum relativity? Or are we talking about quantum mechanics? Nobody talks about quantum relativity. It's not known to exist yet, but it does exist. Quantum mechanics has to do with corpuscular time, and just remember that in each system, light speed is still the standard in each system. There are three main systems of focus. One, our origin black hole. Two, our space-time. Three, our black hole came from space-time sub 1. This gets confusing. I'd rather say corpuscular time space 1, corpuscular time space 2, corpuscular time space 3. All of these and everything else is the universe. The universe runs with corpuscular times. A black hole is a time setter according to mass, rotation, spin, all very important in the creation of a corpuscular time apparent space. Alright. Then, how does it work? The mass falls into the singularity, gets crushed to nearly nothing except the most basic particle at near infinite spin, fights the crushing force of the black hole. It's centripetal against centrifugal. An equilibrium is established. Around the base particle is all the space that was swallowed up, and every particle perceives it is in the center. It doesn't know anything. Particle doesn't know anything. So, from each particle's point of view, again, it doesn't know anything. It is in the center, and that space fills with the base component. Then, these base components connect up to create more complex structures until stars, planets, suns, and more black holes are also possible. An equilibrium establishes two interconnected corpuscular times. One, supertime, or superposition, just so you recognize what I'm talking about, and two, spacetime, or our time. Supertime is reunitized time based on the originating mass, spin, and any other contributing factors, and spacetime also forms. Supertime connects to spacetime. I just named supertime from superposition because that's what it is from. This is our point of view. And you'll notice that superposition, I kind of wonder if he's kind of insinuating, maybe, there's some things that people are ready for. And I believe that all the different sciences and all the different measurements and everything, there were some people standing in the way of progress. Like at times, people would come out with the truth. You could see it time and time again, where somebody was like, no, that's wrong. And then they had to die before it actually would go forward. Let's not do that anymore, right? A lot of times when people say, now we know that this is the way it is, it should be worded very carefully because tomorrow it might change again, right? So anyway, science doesn't make reality. Reality is what it is. Science measures reality or comes up with a conceptual way to conceptualize reality, and we make adjustments to make it fit. And sometimes it's more right than others. Anyway, from within the corpuscular time in a black hole, light will not notice anything different in the speed of it, or the speed it is traveling, but its view is gone from our view, and it and all other resulting particles are reunitized. When the matter flowed into our black hole that formed us, the space envelope forms from all the space and matter that is squished into the black hole and crushed. And that space forms a bubble like formation that is part of our beginning. Next, matter with no form, formless, well, I wouldn't say formless, but here it does, so we'll just go with it. Formless matter, then the black hole reunitizes itself. This might be happening while space is still being pumped into the space we imagine as a balloon filling up. Oh, I see what I'm getting at. But this is not likely. So when I'm talking about a balloon filling up, now you can tell that I'm talking about inflation. This type of space has no beginning and no end, no edge, and space itself is like a particle of its own. And that matter forms inside of. Matter allowed to roam freely in this space, yet its essence is still trapped by the king of the universe, gravity. Ironically, what we call the weak force. Particles poke through and begin to bind to form substructures and bigger particles. These particles would fly off in all directions, but the massive gravitational field, that is the black hole, is the force that holds unwilling particles together. The only choice these particles have is a vibration or circular orbit. See what I'm getting at with the circular orbit? Well, not like the other one where someone can go light speed, because their molecules are rotating in an orbit really, really fast. If you figure that out, let me know. Okay, just kidding. The particle is almost like a person in the bottom of a covered pool trying to get out without the possibility of suffocating. Yeah, so like I kind of think of it that way. Like if a particle goes into a black hole and it forms a reality, it's not. We know it's not getting out of the black hole, but there's a space. There's space in there, and if it's trapped by the black hole, and another aspect is it makes sense, because if energy, which is everything, is going to travel, usually it travels in a straight line. But if it can't travel in a straight line, it's got to go in a circle or an orbit or sphere. And let's see. Yep, okay. Bottom of the pool, not suffocating with the cover. You know that's a bad thing. So if it's a cover in a pool, you dive under that cover and you have no way to get through that unless you could cut it. But in this case, there's nowhere to go but further, because you're trapped. And so the particles go circular, but there's space in there. And then they gain, within that, I haven't gotten this far, but within that space, they gain an individual degrees of freedom. We'll get to that later. These particles take in the black hole create rings. And these rings can link with other particles, creating the binds that unite space, gravity, time, mass, and particles. Sometimes the shortest distance between 2 points is a bend or a circle, because there is no other choice. And that's what I was talking about with the... this is probably as close as it gets to strings, you know.